Hi, Natalie here from the DNR Outdoor Adventure Center, joining you from my front yard, where I'd like to share with you something that I discovered the other day. So this ditch right here has a nest in it from a species of bird called Red-winged Blackbird. So if you're not familiar with red-winged blackbirds, they look just like it sounds. It's a blackbird with red patches on the wings. However, if it's a female, it doesn't look like that at all. It actually looks a lot like the colors that you see here so that it can blend in well. So believe it or not, this is a great nesting habitat for them, even though it is just a ditch in the front of our yard. It has what they need. It has the dead cattails for the nest and also places where they can forage nearby. We've had nesting red-winged blackbirds here for a few years now, and so I wanted to check and see if we had any eggs yet. So the other day I took a quick peek and I was surprised at what I found. So first, let's just take a look at the location of the nest, just to show how hidden they can be. I only knew where it was because I had seen the female land there and fly away from the spot. Do you see a nest at all? Probably not, so I'll circle the location. If you look very closely, you can barely see where some brown grasses are woven around the cattails in the bottom half of the red circle. That is the base of the nest. But, like I said, these nests are usually very well camouflaged, as you can see. So when I peered in for a closer look, and what I saw was an imposter in the form of eggs. Notice that there are two kinds of eggs in this nest. The blue ones are from the red-winged blackbird. They're a beautiful blue, just like a robin's egg, but they have little black lines, little squirmy lines on them as well. But the other ones were dropped in there by a sneaky nest freeloader. Who would do such a thing? Actually, I don't need to launch an investigation to know exactly who did this. I've seen them around my home for years and I've known exactly what they were up to, but this is the first time I have witnessed it so firsthand. Friends, meet the brown-headed cowbird. Just like the red-winged blackbird, brown-headed cowbirds show sexual dimorphism. In other words, males and females look different. The male being on the left and the female on the right in these images. It's also not a mystery how it got its name, just like with the red-winged blackbird. You can see that the male does have a brown head, but why are they called cowbirds? Cowbirds are a species of open pastures, grasslands, farms, residential neighborhoods, and they certainly don't shy away from bird feeders. They do often follow grazing livestock that disturbs grass and kicks up bugs, providing food for the cowbirds. Historically, they actually followed herds of bison on the open plains. But as more and more forests were cleared through the last century, they did expand their habitats to include basically any kind of open habitat. So they are a very common bird in parks and suburbs. And if you have a bird feeding operation in your yard, you probably have cowbirds visiting it. So, getting back to this nest freeloading behavior, this is a life history strategy known as brood parasitism. In our case, the cowbird is the parasite and the red-winged blackbird is the host. It is actually a pretty common host for female cowbirds. Because cowbirds would follow herds of bison historically on the plains to eat the bugs they kicked up and the grass that they disturbed, this nest strategy worked well for them. The female could inconspicuously dump eggs in someone else's nest, then just follow the migrant food source and never have to incubate eggs or care for the young. The other bird just did it for them. So you might be wondering, what is the host bird thinking? Don't they know? Don't they recognize their own babies versus someone else's? Actually, most cowbird host species feed the baby cowbirds just like their own,
even if that baby ends up being bigger than they are, just like the chipping sparrow here that's feeding the bigger baby cowbird. Apparently, they just can't resist feeding a hungry mouth. Doesn't matter if it's theirs or not. Evolutionary biologists and ornithologists have done lots of studies and experiments on brood parasites, so there's lots of information out there about this fascinating behavior. A great place to start is the Cornell Lab of Ornithology's All About Birds website, where you can search for individual birds and learn about their identification characteristics and their behaviors. Actually, brown-headed cowbirds are not the only species to engage in such deviant behavior. Others include the bronzed cowbird, the shiny cowbird, and across the pond in Europe, the common cuckoo. As shown here in this photo of a ridiculously large baby cuckoo being fed by the smaller reed warbler. Even a few duck species have been known to drop a few eggs in someone else's nest, such as this hen redhead that is shown here.
Thanks for joining me here in my yard today. We'll see you next time.